I never believed in extraterrestrials, but the moment I was taken, my entire perception of reality changed. It was a regular night in the city, a quiet walk home from my late shift. The streets were empty, the air crisp. Then, without warning, a blinding light engulfed me. Before I could scream, my vision blurred, and I blacked out. When I woke up, I was inside a cold, metallic room. My wrists were bound to a sleek silver chair. A strange humming noise vibrated through the walls. Panic gripped me as I struggled, but the restraints wouldn't budge. That's when she walked in. She wasn't human, at least not entirely. Her skin had a faint blue shimmer, her eyes a piercing silver that seemed to glow in the dim light. Her presence exuded authority and danger. She was tall, lean, and moved with an eerie grace. A tight, dark bodysuit clung to her form, and her fingers ended in razor-sharp claws. Yet, there was something undeniably captivating about her. She studied me with an intense gaze, as if reading my every thought. "You are different," she finally spoke, her voice smooth yet carrying an unsettling echo. "I have been watching you." A shiver ran down my spine. What are you?" I managed to stammer. "Your kind calls me Nithra," she said. "And you are here because I chose you." The words sent my mind racing. Chose me? For what? My heart pounded as she stepped closer, tilting her head in curiosity. "You do not fear me as others do," she continued. "Interesting." I swallowed hard, trying to suppress the sheer terror bubbling within me. "What do you want from me?" Nithra's lips curled into something resembling a smirk. "To see if you are worthy." Before I could respond, she raised her hand. A sharp pain shot through my skull, and suddenly, images flooded my mind. Visions of other captives, experiments, and horrors beyond comprehension. My knees buckled. It wasn't just abduction. It was something much darker. But then, as if sensing my breaking point, she stopped. The pain vanished, leaving only a lingering sense of dread. "You are stronger than I expected," she murmured. "Perhaps you will survive." I had no idea what she meant, but I knew one thing. I had to escape or I would never see Earth again. As I struggled to process my predicament, the walls of the room shimmered, revealing dozens of strange, pulsating symbols. Nithra ran her claws along one of them, and a portion of the wall dissolved into nothingness, revealing a dark corridor lined with glowing blue orbs. My heart pounded as she motioned for me to follow. "You will be tested," she said, her silver eyes narrowing. "And failure is not an option." I hesitated. What choice did I have? I stepped forward, every instinct screaming at me to run. But the promise of an unseen fate was even more terrifying. As I followed Nithra into the unknown, I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever awaited me at the end of this corridor would change me forever. The corridor twisted and turned, and the further we walked, the heavier the air felt. A low humming filled my ears, and I realized it wasn't coming from the walls. It was inside my head. The symbols on the walls flickered and pulsed as if they were alive, reacting to my presence. "You are adapting faster than I anticipated," Nithra observed, her tone laced with amusement. "Good." I wasn't sure what she meant, but my body felt different, stronger, lighter, as though something was changing within me. I clenched my fists, suppressing the unease growing in my chest. Suddenly, the corridor opened into a massive chamber. A circular platform stood at the center, surrounded by floating, holographic symbols. Other beings stood there, some human, others unrecognizable. Their expressions ranged from fear to determination. "Your first trial begins now," Nithra declared. "Survive and you may earn your freedom. Fail, and you will become one with the void. I barely had time to process her words before the platform beneath me trembled. Shadows swirled around the room, forming into monstrous shapes with glowing red eyes. The trial had begun, and there was no turning back. The first creature lunged at me, a mass of black tendrils and shifting, jagged teeth. My body moved before my mind could react. I dodged, rolling across the platform as another shape burst from the darkness. Instinct took over. I struck out with my fists, only to realize my movements were impossibly fast, my strength beyond anything I had ever known. Nithra watched from the shadows, a calculating expression on her face. "Impressive," she murmured. One of the creatures lashed at me with razor-sharp claws, grazing my arm. Pain seared through me, but something strange happened. The wound closed almost instantly. My breath hitched. What had they done to me? I fought with renewed determination, using my newfound agility to evade and counter. One by one, the monstrous figures fell, dissipating into nothingness as their shrieks echoed through the chamber. When the last one vanished, silence settled over the room. I stood, chest heaving, my mind reeling from the impossible. Nithra stepped forward, her silver eyes gleaming with approval. "You have passed the first trial," she said. "But this is only the beginning." A door at the far end of the chamber slid open, revealing another corridor, darker, more ominous. My pulse quickened. I had survived, but I was no closer to understanding my fate. Whatever lay ahead, I had no choice but to face it. Nithra gestured toward the passageway. "Come. There is much more for you to learn." With no other option, I followed her into the shadows, knowing that my life, my very existence, had changed forever.